Hey,
How are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
Happy Monday.
Happy Monday.
How do we feel about this book? Okay, so today we're reviewing The Quiet Balance of Dreams by Sello Duiker. And even though this month we actually reviewing memoirs, we just felt that this one will be fitting because of the context of this book can happen to someone. It can be somebody's lived experience. Yeah, it feels too real to not be a memoir actually. And yeah, it's a work of fiction, but yeah, we just felt like because it touches on race, sexuality, diversity,
mental health,
identity, mental health, rape, and
also friendships.
Friendships. Friendships. What is a friendship in? Okay, to them it was, I guess it was.
So you asked how are you feeling? I feel excited. I enjoyed the book. I remember thinking I was very intimidated by the size of the book. The font is really small, so I was very intimidated and discouraged. But as soon as I got into it, you just wanted to know about Tepo, Angelo,
Mabatu, and all the other characters.
Yes.
And I liked, I appreciated how this book was set up, because every character, like when you needed to read about, like there was like a name of every character, so you knew exactly where you are in the book. There is no part or like where there was no point in the book where I felt lost or I felt I don't know where I am.
You don't know whose point of view.
Yes. So Sello, the author, wrote from everyone's like point of view, all the characters' point of view. So it was quite refreshing because we don't read books like that a lot. Yeah.
And what was also interesting to note is the main character, Tepo. I get when we start the book, we started where he is experiencing some mental health challenges and he's being admitted into a psychiatric institution, right? And he goes through all of those and then later in life where he finds employment elsewhere, he goes by a different name. So what was interesting for me was how when we are reading about him, in the beginning he is Tepo, and then at some point later in life he's Angelo. So you get to, we're speaking about the same person, but it's almost as though there's a split personality there, which for me I think the link is very beautiful. Yes,
and
speaking of it, the book is mainly focused on mental health challenges that the main character experiences.
And even like Tepo, even though we as the readers, we learn a lot about him and about his upbringing, but his friends know so little about him, and he hides a lot. Like he hides himself from his friends. The job that he's doing, I mean, like it's things that you'd not hide from your friends. Like you wouldn't hide, again, unless of course you're doing that kind of job. Maybe you would be embarrassed to say, hey, listen, I'm a poor girl or whatever.
You have the nice words for it. If you knew the words that I had in my head, you would judge me. You would need to stop this recording and edit it out.
Okay, so let's go straight into the questions. What did you think of the main character?
I liked Tepo, Angelo, whichever part of him. I liked them both. I felt they were relatable. Tepo was a young man who struggled with mental health problems, who experienced a traumatic encounter in his upbringing, was estranged from his father. So those circumstances I felt were quite relatable. Especially in the South African context. I mean, we either know someone who has a similar story. So I enjoyed reading about that. As for Angelo, I felt Angelo was just a different someone to Tebo. But he was also refreshing. He was vulnerable, he was very vulnerable, but also very, very charming in his own way and refreshing. So that's what I felt about the main character.
Okay, I think, like, I loved, okay, not loved, but I liked Tebo, the character. And I think I loved Angelo. And I think the two characters, I think Tebo wanted to be Angelo, but then this new job and this new name or identity gave him meaning, or gave him, like, I think he finally found himself, because of all along, like in the book, as a young man struggling with mental health and with all those challenges that he had growing up, he struggled to find who he was, or find, or because I remember there was a point where he, the friend Mabato asked him, like, do you even like girls? Do you love boys? Like, what is, like, what? And then he was just like, I don't know, you know, I don't know. I just let it be, let it go. You know, he just didn't want to touch those things. And I think he broke free. That whole,
as Angelo.
Yes, as Angelo, he broke free, and that whole thing gave him more a new meaning, gave a new meaning to his life. Yeah, that's what I think. And were the characters and their problems believable?
Most certainly.
I also loved Mabatu, her character.
I loved Mabatu too. And Liana story sahai, si believable. Mabatu was also a young adult. She was in, I think she was in university when she met her boyfriend, who was not originally South African. And they struggled with interracial relationship. Mabatu also, Liana, she experienced a lot of what people her generation in South Africa experienced, whereas they would have been termed coconuts, where you spend, because of the affluence of your parents, you're being afforded an opportunity to interact in your model C schools or interracial schools, and that creates a bit of a disconnect between culturally who you are and who you're living as now in the present. So that was also a refreshing take to read about those challenges.
But don't you think for this book, and then I mean it has been written, I don't know when it was published, we'll just check, but I feel like everything that's happening, it's still happening. Like, we're still struggling with the same challenge, we still have the same challenges, we're still struggling with the same problems. But it's like nothing changed. It's like a cycle.
The piece is timeless. This book for me would be timeless. Because it was published in 2012. But even then, the themes around the book, the themes are homosexuality, the racism, socioeconomics, even religion came through here,
and mental health. And now mental health at 2012, it's at least now people are starting to, you know, engage and have open conversations about mental health, and actually just accept that there is something called mental health problems or illnesses.
But still, you would find there is still
stigma attached to it.
In some communities.
No, that's true.
Depends on the level of awareness that a particular community would have. But the themes that he explores in this book are very still pretty much relevant even today in 2025.
I agree. Share quotes from the book.
509.
5 for me.
I guess I'll pull out what the context is.
Okay.
Maybe get for me 5 or 8. And it is strange to be a person, so insignificant, so alone and scared in the world. Sometimes I think if the anatomy of a man is a model of the universe, then the smallest possible fragment of the surface area of the tip of his eyelashes would be our galaxy. We are so insignificant, our lives so inconsequential, it is frightening. This is where my quote comes in. It is a miracle that God hasn't forgotten us. We only exist in our minds. In life, we are just moving atoms, no different to still rocks, savoring eternity, impulsive winds and feverish fires. That is my quote. For we only exist in our minds. That was powerful. And Liana, he lived a lot in his mind, like the rest of us. But because you are reading this book, you realize, my brother, you need to get out of your mind. And the writing is so brilliant that when Sello or Angela has a flight of ideas, like you can read it. Even the pace of the writing increases where you are with him and sharing more. Okay, now he's getting very agitated. He's overwhelmed with his thoughts, and that just for me was just beautiful when it came through. What is your?
My favorite quote is on page 5, 6, 9. 5, 6, 9. Sometimes I fantasize about suicide. I fantasize about diving into a volcano alive with fire and molten lava. Sometimes I want to swim out into the ocean till my strength ebbs. Sometimes I wish for death as though it were life. I accept this as part of me, like the hair on my scalp, like the skin on my flesh. To trust life, I must trust death. And this is Angelo, like when he was working, he was Angelo Tsepo. So he was still struggling with his mental health and not knowing, obviously, what he must do. And I think also, you remember Chris? Sorry.
He is for me what Caleb was to Jude. To Jude in I Have Life. A Little Life. In A Little Life by Hanya.
You know.
Yes. But continue with Chris.
No, yes, I just wanted to say, like, obviously we can't share like to the detail, but I despise Chris. I hate that man. And in the beginning, when we introduced to Chris, he doesn't seem like he's going to be this big bad wolf. You know?
He's such a teddy bear.
And Tapolena, he's so... I think he had a crush on Chris all along.
I just don't remember the specifics, but I don't think he internalized it as a crush.
No, I think he did.
Okay, it's fine. I can't argue because I don't remember the specifics.
No, I think he did. I think he liked him, like, from a distance. He was like, ooh, this man. But because it was that time where he didn't even know what was that. Like,
that's why I don't think we internalize as a crush.
No, I internalize as a crush. Like, never know how to feel at this point. Mara, as I do, this is a big bad monster. You know. So yeah, that is my quote.
Yeah, no question what this is now. But nonetheless, I enjoyed the book. Because when it's going through a lot. Where I'm not sure if he started hallucinating or he was having a mental breakdown, and he ended up having to walk to home. After a train go wrong, and he ended up walking.
Yeah, so that part. it left me confused.
Exactly, because they're not confused, and that is why I'm appreciating the writing of the book, because it paints a clear picture. Highway. Everyone a lone man just speaking to himself. To begin with. I saw exactly.
Yeah, no, I understand what you mean. Is this a book that you'd recommend to someone?
Yeah,
you would. Yeah, I would. Definitely.
I enjoyed it.
I also enjoyed it, and also this book has some sexual scenes, but the sex is not like distasteful.
It's more creating awareness. Yeah, he's just describing what is going on. It's not meant to arouse or entice or anything like that.
Yeah, it's not those.
No, as a spicy romance. As a spicy romance.
Oh, I guess you don't even know what I wanted to say.
Ma'am,
what did I want to say?
Please.
What did I want to say? Tell the people what I want to say.
No, I'm not going to tell the people what you wanted to say, because then what you're saying is about me now.
I'm not saying anything about you. I'm just pointing what it's not.
Thank you. Thank you for watching.